Hey guys, welcome back to another video. What intense last few days have we witnessed? There's been so much going on that many people would find it really difficult to make sense of what's happening. But I'm gonna try and put all of the points together so we can reach somewhat of an image of what's happening and base our analysis on it and discuss the potential outcome in the next few days or weeks or even months. I'm going to do that by splitting the subjects into the military action today, particularly in Gaza. Then I'm going to extend it to the regional scale. Then I'm going to be talking about the political tensions, especially between the United States and Israel, and what we are expecting next week, especially with Blinken's planned visit to Israel and the region after he canceled his visit. So we'll start off with Gaza. We've heard reports about withdrawals in the past few days. They withdrew reservists, talks about withdrawing 8 brigades. Now, what we've seen today is Israel intensifying the attacks from all across the areas of Gaza. We've seen them acting in Khan Yunis. We've seen them acting in Jabalia, which is more to the north. The most intense battles were in center of Gaza, the center of Gaza. They had their military positioned again throughout the coasts of Gaza towards the center part of it. So central western part of Gaza. Now, when I say they position their army there, they invade and they go back, invade and go back, because there are certain areas that they're trying to reach, but they are unable to reach them. In central Gaza, it has 5 brigades. 2 of them are paratrooper brigades. So they're going down and conducting operations over there. You've had tank shells, you've had airstrikes, albeit limited, but there's lots of activity from the Israeli side. The resistance, they said that they have many joint actions against Israel in each of those locations, and they are reporting that Israel is using new techniques against them, particularly when it comes to trying to trick them. Like, for example, we've heard confirmation that Israel is using robots to produce sounds of gunfire and tanks coming in to let the Palestinian fighters reveal themselves so that they can attack them. The resistance said, we are aware of them and we didn't fall into the trap. And yet again today we saw a disgusting massacre from Israel against Abu Hatab and Abu Salah families in Khan Yunis. These families have been seeking refuge from another part of Gaza. Israel struck the place they were in and they killed 14 family members. Imagine. And most of them are under the age of 10. At least 7 of them, children. Despicable actions is still ongoing. And at the same time, we're seeing horrible reports coming out of Gaza that not many, if any, obviously mainstream media is talking about them, which is to do with kidnapping children. The Israeli army radio had a conversation with a soldier very recently, and he stated that one of his friends supposedly heard a baby crying in one of the locations in Gaza, and he took the baby away to Israel. Now, obviously, we need to remember here, Zionists lie more than they breathe. So we don't believe any of what they say in general, but you take hints of what they say and then try and verify it by what's actually happening. We did receive a verification, but we've had reports of children kidnappings from multiple areas. But this gentleman, his name is Rushdie Al-Dhadha. He said that he was with his wife and with his 2 very young children. Zain, who is 6 months old, and Muhammad, who is 4 years old. He said that the army went in, forcefully took the children of his wife. All of them were arrested. He was released after 25 days, but he doesn't know the whereabouts of his wife and his 2 children. His wife's name is Hadil, And he confirmed that the army separated them from their children. And I mean, the level of barbarity, it doesn't end. It's endless. It's like you're not dealing with human beings who conduct such atrocities against innocent civilians. You're not talking about Hamas members. You're not talking about fighters, anyone fighting against it. You're talking about normal civilians in their homes. They're going there, kidnapping people off their homes, and the people don't know their whereabouts. This man, he looked half dead, poor thing. He doesn't know where his wife is and his 2 children for the past 25 days. And they speak with the army and they don't tell them anything. And many people, and this is just the guy that we've seen actually confirming this. You haven't heard all of their stories yet. Because the other guy from the Israeli army, from the IOF, he said that his friend took an infant from another area. And don't obviously believe them when they say they heard them crying. They don't save children, they kill children. They deliberately target them. We know exactly what they're doing. So their atrocities is on another level. So overall, from the military front in Gaza, we've seen more Israeli aggression. It seems like they had a retraction and they came back from multiple other areas and they're attacking intensively in many areas. Lebanon still had a level of action, but we haven't seen any significant escalation following the assassination of Al-Aruri. All of this is coming in the context of a desperate Israeli attempt for an escalation. We obviously know they targeted Saleh Al-Aruri a couple of days ago alongside leading figures in Lebanon, in Al-Dahiya Al-Janubiyya. And we had reports that Hamas got hold of the UAV that attacked it. We also had the news from Iran, the terrorist attack that apparently ISIS admitted to committing. Now, just ask yourself, ISIS, right? It just says who ISIS serves, who created ISIS, and who ISIS works for. I mean, the people who said Israeli secret intelligence services for ISIS, they were very correct. So they took responsibility. Why would you want to go and kill innocent people? You can have your differences with Iran and with Qasem Soleimani and with whatever. What do innocent civilians have to do with any of that? What do they have to do with any of that? But Israel is doing all it can to increase the tensions. And today, we've heard them attacking in Iraq. So they attacked a base for Al-Hashd al-Sha'bi in Iraq, and they killed 2 senior leaders in Al-Hashd al-Sha'bi. So there is a very calculated, very deliberate attempt from Israel to turn everything upside down and wage an all-out war in the region. This is coming at the same time that they have, I would say, historically low relations and tensions between them and the United States of America. I know some people might disagree with me here, but the tone that we heard from the US in the beginning of the war isn't the same anymore. They obviously gave deadlines for Israel that Netanyahu is refusing to follow. And today we've had a report from Israeli Channel 12 that senior leading political figures in Israel are fuming because the United States took off its ships from the Mediterranean. Apparently, they had confirmations that these official figures are fuming from what America has done by withdrawing its ships from the Mediterranean, who supposedly came to deter Hezbollah and Iran from attacking Israel. They said it's weakening them against Lebanon and Gaza, and they asked the United States to clarify the reasons for withdrawing the forces, so it doesn't suit them. This is coming at the same time that Israel is admitting that there's international pressure. You obviously have the pressure of the United States. You have the EU saying we need to enforce a solution, right? An increase in the tone. You have all of the judicial system problems that Netanyahu has, and they're outright saying that we will not submit to the pressure of the United States. You have Itamar Ben-Gvir, who stated, we are not a star on the American flag. He said that. So America's our friend, but we're going to do what's suitable for us. Imagine the arrogance. You fully rely on the United States, but you don't want to follow what the United States is saying. Now, this is also coming with multiple statements from the United States. Like the White House is saying, Israel cannot eliminate Hamas. It can weaken them, but it cannot eliminate them. John Kirby. And they also stated that you cannot kill an ideology. At the same time, the Department of State in America, they said that Blinken's scheduled visit next week is going to solely focus on de-escalation. So the United States doesn't want an escalation, yet Israel is deliberately conducting all of its terrorist actions to increase the tensions. And imagine this for a second. Imagine any other country conducting attacks against 1, 2, Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Iran, and they're not saying anything about it. Imagine for a second any other country in the world conducting actions against foreign sovereign countries all together. How would the response be? Where is the condemnation again? So they're doing all of this to have an all-out war and put everyone at risk. And for the Americans and the Europeans to send them troops to help them because they're failing miserably. So what we're seeing is the United States is actually going at complete loggerheads with Israel at the moment. You obviously have the strategic relations with them, but for the first time we're seeing these strategic relations breaking down slowly. Because the United States, in terms of foreign policy, in terms of conflicts, they like conflicts on a low heat. They don't like things getting out of control. The United States knows if everything goes out of control in the Middle East, they're not going to win anything. They learned their lesson in Iraq. They learned their lesson in Afghanistan. Now, there's also an argument that these are very big steps that they're taking to take large steps down the very, very high ladder that Israel climbed on with the objectives of the war, although the objectives are not agreed upon by the military cabinet and the Israeli leadership. But again, we're still seeing them saying that this is going to be a long-lasting war. We need at least a few more months. People are saying the next half year will be crucial and critical for Israel. But the United States is not getting dragged into it. As a matter of fact, it appears to be that the withdrawal of America from the Mediterranean is shrugging off Israel, is telling them, I'm not with you if you want an all-out war. And that's why Blinken canceled this trip when they assassinated al-Aruri. Obviously, the United States said it was due to technical issues. No one tell me technical issues. He canceled his trip because Israel conducted an operation that they wanted to increase the tensions and put the whole region in flames. And he's sending them a message. They obviously have their talks behind curtains that we understand what's happening behind them based on multiple statements. Netanyahu has been admitting since last month that there's international pressure. They told them, we gave you 40 days to eliminate them previously before the temporary ceasefire. You didn't eliminate them. Now you need to find a solution. But he doesn't want a solution. He still wants to fulfill his satanic dreams of emptying out Gaza and having resettlements, which will never happen. I mean, even if the United States is admitting now that you cannot eliminate Hamas, what do you mean? Are you going to continue to try and eliminate Hamas when your biggest ally and supporter is telling you you cannot eliminate them? Neither militarily nor politically, by the way, because you're talking about an ideology. Plus, do you think you can eliminate them after what you've done in Gaza? It's impossible. So they're trying to drag a reaction from the resistance groups in the region to retaliate and make it bigger. But what we're seeing is that the resistance movements are very aware of what Israel is doing and they're not being sucked into it. Whereas usually we used to have retaliations previously, but the military climate and political climate, they were not the same. And many people in Israel are saying that the situation that they're in now is worse than the 6th of October and 1973, when they had the war with Egypt. All of this with talks about the end of Zionism. Zionism is dying. Israel is proving to the whole world, or at least anyone with a functioning moral compass and sound reason, that its existence is no longer tenable. So start talking about dismantling and ending apartheid and implementing equality. So these were the main things that I wanted to talk to you about today, guys. I hope I've added some beneficial information for you, and I will see you soon in the next video. Take care.